Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk. Today we're going to be looking at the WSL specifically and the 4 new managers as we head into the 2024-25 season. So the clubs that have new managers heading into this season are Chelsea, Brighton and Hove Albion, Aston Villa and Leicester City. So let's have a look at each of the managers in a bit of a deep dive. So starting off with Chelsea, now obviously they have appointed Sonia Bompastor, who is replacing Emma Hayes. So for Bompastor, obviously a lot is known of her. She used to play the game, obviously recently been head coach at Lyon, where she was very successful, winning lots of trophies. So it's going to be an interesting time of how Bompastor will get on with the Blues. She's obviously made some signings already, big player being Lucy Bronze, arriving on a free transfer after her contract with Barcelona expired. She's also signed a few players from France, looking at Sandy Baltimore, Orion Jean Francois, to name a couple. So it's a bit of a transition period for all 4 of these clubs. Maybe something you hear me repeat throughout this video, but I'll try my best not to. But all clubs will be coming in with a bit of a transitional period, and it may take them some time to get used to. Obviously, they've been having pre-season now, but it will take them a little time to get up to full stretch and full speed playing the way that they like. So what can we expect from Bompastor? Well, she typically lined Lyon in a 4-3-3 formation with 1 holding midfielder in the middle and then 2 number 8s in front. And you'd expect to see the fullbacks pushing forward, which means the wingers can go on the inside and link up with the striker. How do we expect them to line up? I would imagine very much the same. Obviously, you'd see Lucy Bronze probably coming in from the start and maybe 1 or 2 of the new signings. But other than that, I don't expect too many changes from what we saw really of how Chelsea were lining up at times in terms of personnel under Sonia Bompastor and obviously under Emma Hayes in this new Bompastor era. It's going to be a very interesting time for Chelsea. Obviously, they've got used to the Emma Hayes ways week in, week out, day in, day out for the last 12 years of Emma Hayes being at their helm. Obviously, new manager, takes a while to get used to the stuff. New players coming in, some players coming back off loans. You've got players coming back off injury throughout the season. Obviously, you'll have Anik Nouwen back from her ACL injury. At some point, Sam Kerr will come back. Potentially, Mia Fisher will come back from her injury in the new year as well. So there's plenty to look forward to and to be optimistic from a Chelsea standpoint. Can they be still successful? I would imagine so. It's going to be quite hard and it would be a massive fall off for them if they were to just fall off the top and then just crumble away. I'd still expect them to be challenging for the title and obviously looking to lift it for a 6th time in a row and then eventually go on to win the Champions League, which is what is missing from the Chelsea trophy cabinet at the minute. Next up, it's Aston Villa, and they are under the guidelines of Robert de Pauw. The 42-year-old Dutch coach comes in after a few seasons at Bayer Leverkusen over in the Frauen Bundesliga. Now, it was a bit of interesting appointment when it came. It was a bit of out of nowhere, really. No one was expecting this appointment. Well, especially no one was expecting Carla Ward's departure at the time when she announced it after 3 seasons. But it's going to be a very interesting period for Villa. De Pauw had Leverkusen playing really well at times. It was obviously going to be hard to try and dominate that league when you've got Bayern Munich and Wolfsburg being the top 2 teams, and then you've even got Eintracht Frankfurt, who I'd say are the 3rd best team in Germany. But at times, Leverkusen could possibly be the 4th or 5th best team in that division. In terms of signings that they've made already, they've brought in Jill Byings on loan from Bayern Munich, who De Pauw knows after she spent last season on loan at Leverkusen. They've also signed Missy Bo Kearns from Liverpool and a few others, and I think Bo Kearns is such a big addition to this side. I'm really excited to see how that goes. They finished 6th last season by Leverkusen, so it's a bit of an improvement. De Pauw is going to be looking for this time out with Aston Villa. He usually tends to go with a 4-2-3-1 formation or even a 4-1-4-1 when he plays the harder opposition, allowing them to close spaces down and make them hard to break down. It's going to be a very interesting period. Obviously, Aston Villa have lost a few players. Alicia Lehmann going off to Juventus, Daphne Van Domsler, their main keeper last season, heading to Arsenal, but they have brought in Sabrina D'Angelo from Arsenal, and obviously, like I mentioned, Missy Bo Kearns coming in as, we can say, a Alicia Lehmann type replacement. It's going to be a very interesting period for Aston Villa, and I think they are the team that could either go one of two ways. They'll struggle really badly under the Pauw, or they'll thrive excellently and be one of the teams that you go, this is where Aston Villa were a couple seasons back when they finished fifth in the WSL. So that is one where I think we're going to be very interesting to see how Aston Villa play out over this season. Next up is Leicester City and Amandine Miquel. She comes from Stade de Reims recently, the 40-year-old. It's a bit of a shock appointment. Obviously, Leicester over the past couple of years have had a lot of bad things going on with the Willie Kirk situation. And then obviously that led to him ultimately being fired. Not a lot really is known of Miquel. She spent 7 years at Reims. She's coached in the 4th tier of French women's football as well. So it's a bit of a step up from the French leagues. Obviously Lyon and Paris Saint-Germain are the two dominant sides there. So it's going to be one of those where it's always hard to be a big name, but obviously the Leicester board have thought she's a really good appointment and someone that they can look at and hopefully build this team as they go forward. They've brought in some players that she'll know from her time over at Stade de Reims, and a few players elsewhere as well. Chantal Swaby, recently they signed Shayna Chossenoit is one of the players that she would have worked with before, and Naomi Mouchon as well. So she's got some players that will know her tactics and her style of play and how they will be, but it's going to be a very, very hard transition for Leicester, and I think it's going to be one that takes a couple seasons for them to get used to how Miquel wants to play. Again, all 4 managers, they're going to need time to get everything right and play the way that they want to be doing. And obviously, it's a results-based game. You can't be giving them too long if the results aren't going well. But I think for Leicester City, they just need a bit of calm, a bit of collection off the field stuff, so nothing crazy can be distracting them this season, and then be going. I think the big thing for them, as time of recording, she hasn't left, is Lisa Kopp. The Dutch goalkeeper has been heavily linked with Manchester United, according to reports. If they lose her, it will be a big loss. Obviously they've still got Janina Leipzig at the club and they would be able to replace her, but with the window closing in mid-September, trying to hold on to her is something that Miquel is going to have to work on. Otherwise, I think it could be a very long season for them if they don't. And finally, it is Brighton and Hove Albion who have appointed Dario Vidosic as their new manager. Now, Vidosic has recently won the Australian League with Melbourne City. It's a very, very interesting appointment. Again, not a lot is known of Vidosic coming from the Australian leagues. Brighton have had a whole load of managers in the last 3-4 years since Pauw got the sack. They've just got a bit of stability at the club. They've got some good players that have brought in, obviously Frank Kirby being the main one, Jelena Kankovic recently. They've also brought in Marie Aui and Marissa Oleslagers from the Netherlands, two very highly rated players from myself. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they can do it. At Melbourne City, he was a very possession-based manager, how they wanted to do. So I'd imagine translating that over to Brighton and Hove Albion will be very similar. Again, 4-2-3 was he 4-2-3-1 was his style of formation, how you'd expect it to go. It's going to be really interesting who gets the goals for Brighton now after both Elizabeth Turland and Katie Robinson left this summer to new pastures. They brought in summer signing Kiko Seke from Urawa Reds over in the Japanese league. So can they get that out and sorted? For Brighton though, again, it's stability. They've got really good players. They're a team that can finish easily 5th through 7th, maybe 8th. But it's going to be one where they just need consistency. They need to get the goals in. Obviously, Turland was such a big part of that last season for them. But with her moving on, can Vidosic get this team playing the way he wants against the smaller teams, and then playing in obviously a bit of a changed way, but still being able to do what he wants to do against the top 4 or 5 sides in the WSL? That remains to be seen. So yeah, that is that for this week. We have 4 new managers at the 4 clubs. Let me know in the comment section below who you think will do best and how each manager will get on throughout the season. If you want to read a full article that we've done on all 4 managers, head over to our Substack newsletter at womensfootballtalk.substack.com. Brad has done a full breakdown of that over there. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and on Instagram, WF Talks on Twitter, and Women's Football Talk, all one word, over on Instagram, for all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Plenty more to come as we count down to the start of the new WSL season. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. In the meantime, we'll see you soon.